Hi there, this is Ankur, and I'm your host of the day. And we've got our registered migration agent, Mr. Saurabh Smar, with us. Hi, Saurabh, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks, Ankur. How you doing? Ankur,
I'm
I
good.
think
I'm good.
let's just give me 1 second. Let's just wait for some viewers and then we can start. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
First of all, I'm going to I'm very very thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to be a sort of host of this your migration show. You've given me the opportunity to wear my coat and my shirt after a very very long time because due to COVID, we've been actually just working from home, and then I was like, oh man, I need a human interaction. Through where can I get it? And thank you very much, Saurav, for giving me this opportunity. I'm interacting with you, and via this live show, I'm pretty much sure that we both together going to interact with a lot of migrants, those who are actually seeking migration assistance at the moment.
absolutely. Yeah. So that's our main purpose of this migration show that we have actually introduced. That we will be doing live sessions pretty much every week, trying to bring out information, trying to break down into easier paths so that people can actually understand as well.
Yeah, to be honest, and certainly I would like to add here that due to COVID-19 situation, a lot of students, a lot of skilled migrants, they're actually in a sort of limbo. What exactly is going to be happen, right? And then this is some sort of question at the moment that okay, what sort of assistance they'll be getting from the department, right? Whether like such in a case of 485 subclass TR, which normally people call that the English requirement is going to be waived off, this and that, blah, blah, blah. A lot of speculations are in the market. So let's just wait for the viewers to join us, and then we are going to start the live session, to be honest. And then any sort of other update you like to add just before we are going to start the proper session, Saurabh?
Pretty much. So, just want to say that today we would be covering few topics, and as you know, that recently Tasmania introduced some new migration updates as well. The way they would be prioritizing few applications as compared to the others. So that was introduced this Monday, and then yesterday, South Australia actually introduced some new requirements about their migration program, how it's going to be, etc. And then we will be moving forward. Then we would just have a quick discussion, brief information about student visas,
Hmm. So we are going to
about
start.
how what are the
Mhm.
impacts of COVID-19 on student visas. And
Okay.
yeah,
As you just mentioned that Tasmania and South Australia, they actually come up with some sort of recent updates. What about the other states? Are they still planning to come up with the updates, or they are taking a little time?
I think last week we actually covered ACD as well, ACD Canberra, because they are the first territory who actually even introduced the invitation round as well.
Hmm.
But we are anticipating. This morning, I actually attended a webinar by Victorian State Nomination Authority with the Latrobe Regional City Council. So they are probably a lot of people actually ask them when you are actually going to open the Victorian State nomination. So pretty much they answer this question by saying that you have to keep your eyes on our website. We will actually post this up as soon as they actually get to know when it's going to be open. But currently
Hmm.
they actually not sure when exactly they will be, but they are anticipating it should be they probably be open that in the next week or maybe in the next few days. No one knows actually exactly. So
Hmm. And I would like to add here that this session was being co-hosted by Mr. Rajwant, the registered migration agent. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, he is unable to join us. Would you like to add something here, Saurabh?
yes, so as everyone anticipated that it was me and Mr. Rajwan Singh from Australian Visa Center Blacktown. So he was planning to actually have this joint session with me and to discuss about student visas and employer sponsored visas. And but unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances, he could not join us today. But he would certainly would try his best to join us next time. And just we wish him best, all the best as well until then. And yes, so that's pretty much everything from my end in regards to that.
Right. Thank you very much, Saurav, for giving us update. We've already started receiving the questions, but all right, we are going to start this live session after 5 minutes. We've been waiting for the viewers to join us. Thank you very, very much, viewers, for giving us a chance to come on board and then talking about all your migration-related inquiries. So we are going to start this session with the student visa updates. Recently, we've heard that due to COVID-19, that the students, the students, those who are actually like struggling with this COVID-19, they'll be getting some sort of help from the Department of Home Affairs with regards to their fees and what needs to be done and what needs to be added with regards to that their application. Our registered migration agent, Mr. Saurabh Smar, is going to give us a brief on these aspects. Saurabh.
Yes, thanks, Ankur, for the introduction. Yeah, so with the student visas current updates, as everyone is aware of that there's a lot of institutes have been affected, as well as the international students who are actually either stuck overseas or who are actually currently here. And so, and if some students who are actually unable to pay for the for the visa application charge, they could be eligible for nil fees. That means they don't actually have to pay for the immigration visa application charge if they are actually being affected by the COVID-19. So there is an application form that they actually have to fill while submitting their student visa application. The form number is Form 1545, and that
Mhm.
form needs to be signed by their education provider. So once the education provider signs that form, they would need to provide this form along with their student visa application to Department of Home Affairs. So that will actually eventually waive off their 620 or whatever the fees will be at the time when they are actually lodging the visa application. That will be waived off because these are the students who are actually impacted by the COVID-19.
Right, viewer, as Mr. Saurav Smart just said, that what you need to do is to just fill up a form which is 1545, and that needs to be filled from your education providers along with the application which you are going to submit. Then only you'll be able to get that fees waived off. However, in terms of this question, if you're looking for any further assistance, I request you to call Saurabh on the number which is given in there, 04300 for your migration inquiries. We are moving forward, Saurabh. Recently, when we initially started this conversation, we were talking about that there are majority, the vast majority of the people, those who are actually looking for 189, 190, or 491 visas. The states, the states, like all these states, they recently stopped their migration program, and suddenly they've started coming up with the recent updates. As you said that you already done the session with ACT last week, and we've heard that we've received some sort of recent updates from Tasmania and other states as well. Would you like to give us a brief about the Tasmania state nomination update, please?
Yep, certainly. So Tasmania recently, on pretty much on Monday, they actually introduced a new prioritized way of dealing with the applications. And there, so most of the states, in a nutshell, they all are trying to do their best to go back onto the track where they were before the COVID-19 pandemic hit us. So they will be actually, with Tasmania particularly, they will be focusing on three major factors. The first one is they are actually looking into subclass 188 and 132, the business innovation and investment nomination applicants. So for that one, they probably want to see the applicants who are actually already have a business history, and they would like to set up their businesses in Australia. And so by that, they will actually provide employment services to Australian citizens and permanent residents, and which will also help in boosting the Australian economy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a second part of that is for the applicants who are actually quite critical in supporting Tasmania's response to COVID-19 pandemic, such as the people who are actually working in medical services, people who are have people or people who actually have critical skills, which is actually required to maintain the supply of essential goods and medical services. So those are the people who Tasmanian state government will be prioritizing, as well as there's going to be another third aspect. If you don't fall in these two categories, there's another category where you actually, if you can demonstrate to Tasmanian state government that you actually have the capacity to contribute to economic recovery. So though you also, your application would also be prioritized. Also provided you must meet the eligibility requirements that's been published for subclass 190 and 491 for Tasmania. So which will be, if you know, there are various factors for 190. If you do have 6 months of work experience in the occupation, which is actually listed in the occupation Tasmanian skill occupation list, or if you've been a recent graduate from Tasmania, you have studied there for 2 years. So there's other factors that comes in place as well, whether you are eligible for 190 or 491. And if you do have already lodged the application, and for is that this information is for people who have already lodged the application before 1 p.m. on Tuesday, 25th of August, they will be sent out a questionnaire by Migration Tasmania, where they would
Oh,
actually have to provide information that they are actually engaged in a critical role supporting the health system or the Tasmanian economy. And also, if they think that they also will be provided an option either to withdraw their nomination application and receive a full refund, or they can continue with their their application in regards to the any requirement that their nomination to show that they are actually genuinely and ongoing, they will be providing genuine and ongoing contribution to Tasmanian economy. So there are a few opportunities for Tasmanian people there out as well, who are actually already have applied for skill nomination for Tasmania.
all right. So technically, viewers, there is actually a sort of good news, not only for the people those who are actually into the critical sector, working in critical sectors, having the priority. The people those who are actually not working in critical sectors, still they've got chances. Their application is going to be prioritized based on that they are actually supporting the Tasmanian economy. Am I right,
Yeah, absolutely. So, but and there
Saurabh?
will be ways to yeah, there will be 100% ways to do that as well, where you can actually provide a proper evidence and letter of support to show that how the skills that you have is actually quite essential skills in actually assisting with the COVID-19 pandemic, or in order to either to boost the economy back on track.
Right, viewers, as we are talking about Tasmania State nomination update, if you're having any sort of inquiry, you can ask us live in our question answer session. Or if you're having any further inquiry, you can call Global Vision Migration Services. Saurabh is our registered migration agent. His number is 0430081804, and he is available to you to answer your questions at any point of time. Now, moving ahead, moving forward, as like most of the states are coming up with a recent update, we've heard that South Australia is another state who recently come up with the updates as well, right? And South Australia is one of the state which is like the requirements are most complicated most of the times, which I've heard from from the skilled migrants, those who are looking for the pathway for 190 and 491. Would you like to give us a sort of like brief on the SA nomination update, Saurabh?
Yeah, certainly. So yesterday, South Australia actually they actually organized they updated their website, where they put in some information in regards to their migration update. But the most important thing is they actually have not issued their occupation list yet. So their occupation list will be updated by mid-October. So I would say wait for that kind of information. But what they have said is the minimum requirement will be is to at least you need to show that you have 3 months of work experience in your nominated or your closely related occupation. You must be working at least 20 hours per week. And also, if you are an international graduate of South Australia who have actually completed a PhD degree or master's by research, so this kind of requirement, the work exemption, you will be provided with the work exemptions as well. So you don't actually have to provide with the 20 hours per week of work experience, or 40 hours fortnight as well. So these are just the basic information that they have actually recently provided us, but there will be more information out very soon. And another important thing is that they will be prioritizing. They also mention this is our eligible requirements, and then they also have mentioned about what their preferred requirements are. And when it comes to preferred requirements, they have actually they preferred candidates who have proficient English overall, plus who actually got 90 points. And 90 points is actually including the state points. So if you're sitting at 75, you can include another 15 from the state for 491.
Okay, so when we are talking about the preferences, Saurabh, uh, we've seen that there is a trend in terms of states that they are actually giving the first preference to the students, those who are actually studied from their own state. Is that this is going to be the trend anyways, right? And when we are
Yeah.
talking about and when we are talking about the critical list, what do you think that the preference has been anyways going to be given to these students or not, or what sort of occupations are going to be added into the critical list? Just
As
an
we
assumption, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. So as we saw when the occupation ceilings for 2020 and 2021 was actually updated, and we saw the trend in there in the list was all the engineering occupations were actually increased as compared to the one last year. So we can see that the government will be actually boosting up their manufacturing industries, construction industries. So these are the target industries which will actually help boost Australian economy in the long run. So pretty much, I'm anticipating that they will be discussing about. There will be some new updates coming out in regards to the critical sectors. So pretty much, people think when it comes to critical sector that we are only talking about healthcare workers like registered nurses, or enrolled nurses and all other healthcare professionals. But there are engineers also considered to be critical sectors as well because they are really critical in boosting up the Australian economy. And one important aspect for South Australian nomination, what they have actually advised us recently is previously you could go onto their website and apply online for the state nomination, but you cannot do that right now. So right now you actually have to lodge an EOI. And if you do meet these kind of requirements, they have actually provided an email. So where you actually have to email them with the EOI number and explain them why you are actually the best. And then they will do their own checks. And if everything goes well, yes, you will be provided with an invitation or a form. You will be provided a web link where you will have to actually fill up the nomination application. And if the nomination application is successful, you will receive an invitation, and then you can apply for the visa.
Right, viewers, as Saurabh said, I'm pretty much sure that the preference is anyways going to be given to the graduates of South Australia, anyways. But yes, surely they are going to come up with some sort of critical list. But this is going to be happen in month of October. If you're having any sort of question with regards to this South Australia nomination, I request you to call our registered migration agent Saurabh on the given number, which is actually coming on the screen. And moving forward, the most sort of visa which people are actually thinking upon, that okay, uh, 491, 189, and 190, these are the skilled visas. But in skilled visas there is another category which is called employed sponsor visas, right? And previously, it was known as subclass 457, but 457 abolished, and then now it comes like subclass 482. So, yes, I'm handing over this once again back to our registered migration agent, Mr. Saurabh Smart, to give us some sort of light on subclass 482 TSS visa. Saurabh.
Thanks, Ankur. And with the if people who are actually aware of that, the subclass 457 was actually abolished almost 3 years ago, and now it was actually changed to or upgraded to subclass 482, which TSS, which is a temporary skill shortage visa. And so pretty much if it also have like three different fields in it, streams in it. So if we keep on discussing about this one in too detail, it will almost take us like a couple of days to finish this topic. So I'm just going to be go really brief and trying to provide some kind of basic information, like what it's exactly what you're looking for, all that stuff. And also so for temporary skill shortage visa, it's actually for people, if for an Australian employer, if you cannot find a skilled worker in Australia, a local Australian permanent resident or a citizen to actually fill the position. So then it's actually kind of, I would say, a privilege to actually sponsor a foreign employee or a foreign worker to actually work for you on an employer sponsored visa. And with the employer sponsored visa, there are total 3 different types of visas. The first one being short term stream, the second one is medium term, and the third is a labor agreement. So I'll just quickly go through one by one with the what does the different stream mean. So the first, as we said, is a short term stream. So with the term implies is that the occupation that you're going to hire your foreign employee, there must be on the short-term skilled occupation list. Okay, so I can give you an example for this one. Say, for example, if you want to hire a cook in your restaurant, so the cook is actually a short-term skilled occupation list occupation. So that means that you can actually only sponsor that person for up to 2 years. And there are some circumstances where they can go up to 4 years if there is a international trade obligations. And also, as we heard from Prime Minister recently, that they are providing special privileges and assistance to Hong Kong passport holders. So if you are a Hong Kong passport holders, you can actually get this TSS short-term visa up to 5 years. It's just because of the new agreement that the Prime Minister have actually introduced for that. And then I'll explain a bit about the medium term stream. So similar to the short term stream, medium term, that means that your occupation must be either on the MLT SSL list, which is medium and long term strategic skills list, or there's a very important exception to this one is either your occupation can also be on an ROL, which is a regional occupation list. So what does it mean for you is that you can get up to 4 years of a visa if your employer is willing to sponsor you. And similar to that, Hong Kong passport holders can get up to 5 years. And the third and the final stream is labor agreement. So this kind of stream is where there's a big organization who actually have a kind of an agreement with the Australian government. And so they actually introduced in that labor agreement, they have any kind of agreement with them. They can even abolish English language requirements or other kind of requirements as well. And that visa you can get up to maximum 4 years, but also that depends upon what are the terms on the labor agreement. And specifically for Hong Kong holders, it can go up to 5 years. So this is just the 3 visas in a nutshell, and I'll just quickly explain like what it is for an employer. So if you're an employer, there are 3 steps. So total there are 3 steps of this visa. The first one is the sponsorship. The second one is the nomination, and the third one is the visa application.
All right.
And yeah,
Just give me a second. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so with the 3 steps, as I mentioned, the sponsorship, which is called a standard business sponsor, and the second step is the nomination application, and the third is the visa application. So these are the 3 steps to this subclass 482 visa application. And when it comes to doesn't matter if you are in a short-term list or a medium-term list, you actually have to go through this process for that one. So this is an 482 in a nutshell.
Okay, so we was as a registered migration agent actually just mentioned that if your occupation actually belongs to the short-term list, medium-term long list, or this if regional occupation list, then yes, 482 is one of the good option for you. Now, Saurabh, most of the migrants, the first question is that whether this stream is actually leading me towards two beautiful letters, which we call PR, permanent residency, or not. So, any light on that particular aspect for this 482 visa, please?
Sure. So if obviously Australia do need skilled migrants. Skilled migrants is considered as a backbone of Australia in some circumstances. And if you are actually currently on a 482 visa, and I'll quickly go through like the basic eligibility would be is to either if you must have a 2 years of an experience, and then also you could be eligible to 482. But there are other employer-sponsored visas, which such as subclass 186, which is employer nomination scheme, where there is only two steps to this, where is a nomination and the visa application. So the employer, your sponsoring employer, actually lodges the nomination with the Department of Home Affairs, and then the visa application is lodged subsequently. So if you have 3 years of work experience full time, you could also be, and you have a competent English and a skill assessment. So there are other aspects of that as well, which you must meet. And then you could be eligible for subclass 186, which is an employer nomination scheme as well. So this is completely different to a points tested 189, 190, or other 491 visas. This is also a permanent residency, which is subclass 186, but this is done through an employer sponsored pathway. So the employer must sponsor you. And it's for people, say, for example, if you're with 186 itself as well, it has three different categories. So direct entry, and then there is a transition stream, where is a temporary residence transition stream, and then there is a labor agreement. So the labor agreement pretty much follows the same process as per the 482 requirements. But for when it comes to TRTS, which is the temporary residence transition stream, you must be working for your employer from 2 to 3 years time, and then also you could be eligible for 186 under that TRTS process. But there is another a good one, which is direct entry, where you don't actually have to go through the 482 in the middle. You can go straight away up to the 186, provided you have 3 years of full-time work experience, and then competent English, plus you also have a skill assessment and the occupation is in the MLTSS list. So this is just a basic example, but there are other factors that do come in place where you must meet those kind of requirements as well. And and this information is actually only for an educational purpose as well. And if you do want to seek your personal requirements and your circumstances, whether you are actually eligible for 186 or 482, it's better to actually contact a registered migration agent. And you can check whether the person is a registered agent by checking their migration agent registration number on the MARA website, and that's where you can actually get that or accurate information from.
Viewers, migration process itself is very, very complex and required a very, very understanding assistance. So in terms of your individual case, right, if you're looking for any assistance, we request you to contact a registered migration agent, or you can contact Saurabh at 0430081804. Right, and it's a general discussion. It's just the educational purposes, as just mentioned by Mr. Saurabh Smar. If you're having any sort of individual inquiry, you can seek the assistance. All right. Well, now coming back to the questions, Saurabh, we've got viewers online, and I request them, if you are having any sort of question, yes, certainly you can ask us at this given point. Let me just take this question from Bhagyadeep Sahota. Well,
Yeah.
it's a question. It says, my visa 485 is expiring, and I'm planning to move Tasmania under new criteria. Will it work in the case of 90 points?
So Ankur, with this question, as you can see, there is a lot of aspects is actually missing. If you're just talking about in a nutshell, like depending upon what kind of occupation you are, how did you get those 90 points, whether those the skills that you have is actually quite critical to Tasmania's economy recovery as well, and whether those skills that you have is actually essential in the need of in the control of the pandemic as well. So there's a lot of factors involved as well. So when just moving to a different state is not going to answer the question. Those criteria, that though the one that we mentioned previously, was actually just the information for you to they're just the prioritize how they are prioritizing the occupation. The basic nomination eligibility criteria remains the same. So probably you would actually have to do the 6 months of work experience, or you need to provide with the qualification as well. So I can see that the Bhagyadev has actually provided that he's got 90 points for IT business analyst, developer, programmer, or web developer. So pretty much in this kind, if you're an IT person, if you're not employed currently in Tasmania, and it will be a little hard for you to actually show to state government how important your skills are and how you can assist them with the economy recovery as well. So I would say the best opportunity is to see if you can find an employment in your sector. And because if you can find an employment, obviously you would be contributing to the economy recovery as well.
Okay, so technically, like in these sort of cases, occupation is the key. And in order to answer our viewers, we need to understand what exactly the personal situation is, along with that what is your occupation, how many points you're sitting at, and how the moving from one state to another is going to help you out. Am I right, Saurabh?
Absolutely. So there's a plenty of factors that comes in play as well. So yeah, so pretty much we covered a lot of topics, and there's a lot to take in as well when it comes to migration, as it's actually a ever changing industry, and you never know, there will be pretty much a new update coming tomorrow. No one knows about it yet. So and we will that's the reason for this kind of Facebook live discussion, that we will be doing this quite frequently, so that we can actually try our best to break down this information into easier and simpler parts for people to understand, rather than reading the hard-on jargons, the ones that the different state nomination websites they put on.
Yeah, well, viewers, as we are almost at the end verge of our discussion today, I would like to say thank you very, very much, Saurabh, for sharing the latest update on student visa, on Tasmania and South Australian state requirements, and as well as on 482 visa. And as Saurabh mentioned just a while ago, that migration is one of the industry which is ever changing. Like at every second, there is a change coming. And exactly like that, we'll be coming up with those changes on our Facebook live session. Till then, thank you very, very much and wait for the next update. Thank you.
Th- Thanks, Ankur. Thank you so much for hosting this show today, and would love to have you in our shows moving forward as well.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Thank you, Sarab. And thank you, viewers.
Thanks, viewers. Goodbye.
Bye.